We are live. Let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. We have Abbie Gathard. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. It's been good. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's Saturday morning, so you can't really go wrong on a Saturday morning.
No, that's true.
So it looks like you've had a busy 2025 already. You just released a new album. You got some shows coming up. How's the year been treating you so far?
It's been very good. I mean, I came out on the 3rd of January 2025. I wanted to have the album out early. I feel like January is such a good time to have it out as well, because it's like a start of a new year and it's not as many albums as you would have in like July and stuff. So I was like, I want to get it out early, but I did have a lot of the singles out month by month last year. So it was kind of like a final, here's the album and here's 2 extra songs.
Right. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, January is actually kind of a really good time to start putting out like bigger, fuller projects, because there's no immediate like big holidays that are coming up on you that you have to like worry about. And it gives you a good amount of time to like really promote it before you have to worry about like Easter or, like any of the major other holidays that kind of come around. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well, because it gets so busy, especially after Christmas.
Oh, yeah. It's yeah. We'll leave it there. So how long has this album been in the works?
So it's been off and on. I feel like every unsigned artist says this, but you have an idea of an album, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to release it, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then you keep going over, is it ready, is it not ready yet, should I put another song on, how many songs should it be, and you're going through this whole process of when it should come out as well and how you want it to be presented, because it's just you that's doing it all. So it's the whole, I think it's been going on for about like a year, maybe 2 years, that I've been like procrastinating over when to have it out. And I also listen to a lot of like music podcasts about when I should release and what I should be doing. And I don't have as many followers and as many listeners as I do now that I've done singles every month. I kind of pushed myself and was like, I need to build a following. So the best like advice I was given was release them month by month and just do back-to-back promotion, because then you're going to build up a following as you go along.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that tracks, it's just one of those things where it's like, you got to build up your following, and that's really the name of the game right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is. Because as much as I wanted to have an album for myself and to look back on and be proud of it, I also wanted people to listen to it. So I wanted to have some kind of connection with people and want them to connect with the songs. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a bonus to me. I wanted it to just, I didn't have like, oh, I want this song, or maybe I won't have this one. I kind of just like put them together and was like, let's see how it goes, because it's a mixture of all emotions, all different stories. So yeah. I went with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So during this process of kind of building your following, just to kind of get the full benefit for the album, I guess I should preface this question with this question. Were you playing like live shows and stuff during this time?
Yes. Okay. So I quit my job, it feels like a long time ago now. So I think it was in 22. I think it's been 2 years now. And I wanted to put my all into my albums. I also wanted to push myself. I do gigs every weekend. I do like festivals and weddings and events, and try and just promote, as well as doing the cover songs. I wanted to kind of go, here's my song as well. Here, what do you think? Kind of, getting to know other musicians and working along the way. just kind of promoting myself as well as getting the money that I knew that I had to work for, because I didn't have a steady 9 to 5 job. I had to look for these events. I had to look for these gigs, and I knew that there was a push for me, and I like to be challenged.
Yeah. So the reason I asked that question is during this entire like phase and run up to the release of the album, did you find that the while building your following, you saw more benefit of playing live shows or consistently posting to like social media and doing it that way? Or
I
have
guess
you not looked into it that deep?
I mean, I haven't really. I mean, it's just been a kind of, I love performing,
Mhm.
and I did have people along the way buy albums from the gigs and kind of build along. And then people would, I have like a QR code on my poster, and then people would check out and go, oh, she's got a website, she's got music coming out, and they'd talk to me after. But it was mostly social media as well, because you get pubs and events that see you, but then you're also talking to them, and then people through music that go, oh, I've did a gig at so and so, or you should come perform here. And then it's just networking, really. I kind of just saw it grow, but look back on my diary and think, oh, I had more gigs this month than I did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I didn't really notice it until this year, where I've really pushed. And well, last year, and then I pushed for the album. I think I noticed it a bit more. But other than that, I never really thought about it.
Nice. The only reason I ask is because I've been doing this study, I would just like through Live and Amplified and my own stuff and some of the stuff we're working on, just to kind of see where the growth really, maybe not like you have the fastest growth, but you have the more in-depth growth. Like, yeah. Okay. So let's say at a show, you make contact with 80 people, but 10 of them are like, yo, I love your music, and they become like really hardcore supporters. Whereas on like social media, you make contact with 10,000 people, but only like 4 of them become like real hardcore supporters. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out where that balance is and see if what I'm finding across Live and Amplified is consistent across like other musicians and stuff like that. So
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think it's a lot through social media more so, because it depends on the gig. Whereas you get kind of gigs that people in restaurants, they're not really, it's kind of like half the time, oh, they've got music. It's not really a kind of, they've went there for the music. So it really is different. Sometimes you don't expect it, and then you have quite a few followers, and then other times it's more so for social media that I've done the paid boosting, and that's kind of like met new people who have gone, okay, you do this, or but I think it's more so social media than actual gigs, but depends on the gig.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's one of those things where it's just a thought that popped into my head as you were kind of talking, and I was like, yeah, let's go down this rabbit hole. So for Breathe Again, which is the name of the album, and if anybody after the podcast wants to listen to it, the Spotify link will be in the description, and we'll plug all that at the end as well. So, so for Breathe Again, it's been out for just over a month.
Yeah.
What's kind of running through your mind right now? Like, how you feeling? How you feeling post release?
Excited. I mean, I am really excited. I've had, which I'm pretty proud of, I've had over 1,000 streams. So I've seen it grow, and especially through some playlists that I've been on that have massively helped. I kind of didn't want to say, this is my goal, this is what I want to achieve, because I always feel like you put something huge and then you get disappointed. So I wanted just to release, see what happens. I'm kind of like open to whatever happens, but I have had a lot more opportunities because of it. And a lot more people would comment or find me on YouTube and say, oh, I like your song, I like this about it. And it kind of worked out. It was actually funny because Breathe Again wasn't supposed to be the single, and it happened to be the single and the name of the album, which is really strange because it was one of the last songs I had written. So I kind of went, I really don't know what to call this album, and I don't want to call it just Abbie Gathard. I want to call it something. So I ended up going, Breathe Again seems all right because it's quite funny, actually. Like Breathe Again, because the pressure's kind of off because you've had that time of like you're recording everything and getting it right and then going, I can relax for a little bit. But then it's also not the idea of the song. The idea of the song was kind of like ending a relationship and realizing that it was for the best. So then you kind of can breathe after. But it's that whole relaxation, I think, kind of brought me to calling it Breathe Again. So
it's almost like a self-reflective moment, and just kind of happened to work out because in a moment of I don't know what to do with this, and then you have a song called Breathe Again, and it's like you name it Breathe Again and decide that whole go through that whole process of deciding it, and then it's like, oh, now I can breathe again. It's kind of like this really weird self-reflective moment. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So kind of looking forward, where are you kind of at creatively right now? Obviously you're still on the coattails of this release, but are you already looking at the next project? Are you looking at singles, recording, writing? Where are you kind of at creatively right now?
So I'm just focusing on pushing it as much as possible. That was one of my goals for this year. I just wanted it to be just to take as it comes, and I've got a few festivals coming up that are just outside London, and I've also trying to just get as many new gigs as possible, and then I'm going to slowly bring in new songs. I still write a load of songs, but it's knowing what I want to do after. I don't want to build up and then think I have to release all of this stuff now because it's been a few months. I want to just see what happens. I'm just kind of taking it easy, I think, and just seeing what happens, try and build more of a following, see what people like, what songs they don't, and work from that.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things where, especially I feel like in the UK, like just kind of an outsider looking in, like I haven't been to the UK yet, but I've been working with musicians. I feel like the UK has a really strong live scene, and that's where the focus kind of needs to be. Like, I think for the UK scene, it's like full projects and live music. And that's kind of like the sweet spot for the UK. Like, if you want to break into the US market and come over to the States, Nashville, Texas, all that fun stuff, like singles is kind of where it's at. But I feel like that UK scene has still got a very traditional music industry where it's like, no, we like full projects and we like live music.
Yeah, no, I guess so. Yeah, in ways. It's good to know about America, though. That is very good to know. I feel like America's hard to break as well.
Yeah.
Because we're like this tiny little UK, and we kind of, everyone says when you talk to people about it, oh, I've got singles out, and then you say, oh, I've got an album out. Oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. So it's nice to bring that up. I just feel so proud when I say I've got an album out. It's like a huge project for me. It might be for some people, might not be, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it kind of goes to the idea that with like traditional radio, like if once your song kind of falls off the top 40 charts, or like whatever, like once it kind of falls out of favor, they're looking for that next song. So you've got like 6 weeks to hit, and if your song isn't doing anything in 6 weeks, they're looking for that next thing. So like the turnaround is crazy. But I feel like there's still, like, especially recently, like in the UK, and even you're starting to see it in the US with musicians that perform live a lot more, those fuller projects, those albums, something that you could sell physically. For me personally, I prefer buying vinyl over CDs, but vinyl just feels cool. Like even if I have even if I don't listen to it, just kind of having that vinyl is like, that's cool.
Yeah, I get that. It's the look of it as well, isn't it? It's just amazing. It's nice. You can put them on your wall, or you can have them on the side. It's really cool. Yeah, I definitely agree with merchandise is always good to have. And I always loved my CDs. So I would have, I would always buy, as soon as it came out, I would buy the CD. I'd love looking in the booklet. I would love seeing who performed on what and the lyrics. And that's something I wanted to do as well. I wanted to have that in there, and there's a booklet in there, and I really wanted for people to see like an inside to it.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
absolutely, 100%. You know, just kind of having that physical like copy of like, hey,
yeah,
these are the lyrics, these are everybody that's involved with each song. Here you go. You know, that
yeah,
sort of.
completely. Yeah.
So, kind of looking at you as a musician, obviously this is your first full project, correct? You've released like EPs before or an
Yes.
EP.
Yes.
I guess
So
I guess an EP is technically a full project, but when I say full project,
yeah.
full album, that's what I mean. Um,
Yeah.
so how does it compare releasing a full album to an EP? Do you feel like obviously there's a lot more work, but do you yeah, how does it compare like releasing an EP versus a full album?
So it was quite hard for me actually because I bought the EP out January 2020.
Mm. Yeah.
And I actually, yeah, I know that was really bad timing. Obviously, we can't plan these things like that, but I bought it out then, and I actually had an EP release, um, like a little album launch kind of thing, in March, and that's where it was all you have to stay in, you can't go
Mm.
anywhere. So I was kind of like, oh, and I kind of felt like I was on this high from my EP, and then I couldn't do much about it because it got to that point where everyone was in, they were writing music, and I kind of like didn't do as much as I wanted with the EP.
Hmm.
So I didn't really see much like progress with that. It was kind of like, here's my songs, and oh, wait, loads of other people are doing the same thing now. And I didn't have much planned after that because we didn't know what was happening. We didn't know if we would be able to perform live again. We didn't know anything like that. It would be over Zoom or, anything. So now I guess it's good that I didn't have that because then I don't have to compare it and think,
Right.
oh, I did this or I did that. I kind of just did a lot more research and a lot more promoting with the album than I did with the EP.
Hmm.
And I learned a lot more through other people and how theirs has sounded and how I wanted it, and kind of because I got these, I recorded it in my studio and sent it to my friends that I met at uni. Then
Hmm.
they helped like mix and master it, and that was it. And then I learned a lot through research and podcasts and everything of how people have done it and how people have promoted. And I think I did a lot more on this one, and I kind of learned in them like 4 years what I should be doing more of, which I wasn't doing before.
Hmm. Absolutely. You know, and honestly, as I was asking that question, I didn't even put two and two together that you released it in 2020. So it's
I
like,
know.
that's almost like comparing apples and oranges. You can compare them, but it's not going to be a adequate comparable. So, but
No, and also I decided that the four songs that I had on EP, I didn't want them on the album.
ah,
So that was like a completely different thing. I originally thought, oh yeah, like I'll release this EP and I'll have them on the album. And then I just didn't do that. I just
mhm.
decided to keep them separate.
Hey, you know what though? That's good because like I feel like with a 5 year, well, not I guess technically not a full 5 year gap in between the songs. I feel like it would have been a little bit uneven. Like they wouldn't have been
Yeah.
consistent with each other because I'm sure you've changed a whole lot especially from the start of the pandemic till let's say when did you start writing the songs for Breathe Again?
So I actually started writing them in lockdown.
Okay.
So it was a mix of writing the songs throughout all the years and everything. So yeah, changed a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Because I was sitting there, I was like, well, I don't know. Let's yeah. So that's cool. So with Breathe Again now, you're selling physical copies off of that too as well, right?
Yes, yes, I am. Yeah. So well, I've got one here that I decided to do. I sent it to a local company that's done all of the little bits for me, but I ended up actually drawing it myself because I love, as my hobby, I love doing portraits. And I decided, I was like, why don't I just do a portrait of myself and kind of make it as if it's like a frame and as if like it's a piece of art on the wall. So that's why it's got like the plaque, the kind of frame around it. And then it's me. And on the back, I used the same frame to put all of the songs on. I thought it was my thing that I would frame. So I was like, it'd be good to have like a photograph, and this is my kind of, masterpiece in my mind. And
Yeah.
I thought it'd be good to have a little framed album and do it myself.
Nice. I love the artwork. Just I feel like that would look really cool on vinyl.
Thank
Like
you.
I know vinyl is very expensive to press, but
Yeah.
if you ever
That would be amazing if I could have it on vinyl. Like maybe I'll have to save up and just do one and just be like, oh yeah, great.
this is the only one.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, that's funny. Is vinyl making such like a comeback, like a surge in the UK, or is it more
Yes.
CDs right now?
Vinyl, I think it's just taken over. Honestly, everyone goes mad on vinyls. There's a few stores with obviously CDs and vinyls in. There's probably a lot more in London because I'm outside London. It's crazy. Everyone I know has got a vinyl player.
Yeah.
They've got vinyls. They're like, oh, look at my vinyls, like, and have them on little shelves and everything. And they look lovely. They're amazing. I've just never had a vinyl player. So it's that thing. It'd be great that, as you said, it's expensive to make, and it's something that I would definitely think about in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm trying to grow my vinyl collection, and it's just an experience that I feel like a lot of people got rid of their vinyls in like the 90s and 2000s, and it's like, oh man, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
They're looking back and regretting it. I can assure that they're probably thinking, "Oh, great! Why did I sell that for like
Right,
for nothing?" And now,
yeah. So outside of music, what do you like to get into? What do you like to do to kind of decompress?
I have a lot of hobbies. So I like being creative. As I said, I like drawing. I like doing portraits. I normally have like a photo of someone or something, and then I'll have it next to me and I'll draw by that rather than having like a live, person standing there and doing it. I like to crochet. I like to cross stitch. I like to go bowling. Yeah, just all different things, really. I started actually a while ago. I started line dancing because I love country music, and I started line dancing and doing it with my mom, and we absolutely love it. And then I went to Nashville. And I was like, why do people not line dance in the bars and stuff? I don't understand it, because they have this whole concept of like people just getting up and line dancing. And I was like, oh, it's not a thing. But now I know these line dances.
It is. You just got to go to a dance hall. They're not going to do it at bars.
Yeah, that's what I realized after. I was like, oh.
Right. And Nashville, I think they've got a couple of dance halls. I've heard a few people talking about they have dance halls and whatnot, but for the most part, I know Texas has a lot of dance halls. So
I've heard that as well. My friends were talking about that. They were saying, oh, there's so many down here. I was like, I really want to go. So I'm going to have to go back. That's the excuse now. I have to go back and do it. And, I loved it so much. Spent 2 weeks. I spent a week in Houston and a week in Nashville and loved every bit of it. I was sad to be back, honestly.
Fair. I'm trying to convince more people to move to Texas. Like,
I really
just keep coming. I don't like, not to get political or anything, but just keep coming. I don't care. Like Texas, people that are saying that we're going to run out of room or whatever, you've never driven through Texas. You go out to West Texas, and there's a whole lot of real estate that isn't even touched yet. So we're fine.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's probably going to be hard, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm pushing Texas right now. That's kind of the move. So
be getting everyone in there, all the people from UK just coming across.
Honestly, we could probably fit the entire UK in Texas and not even worry.
That's the mission now.
Right. I mean, we do have a lot of Europeans, like a lot of German, Polish, and like Eastern European companies or Eastern European countries. A lot of influence there. So we'll have like Polish festivals and German
Oh,
festivals and Czech
amazing.
festivals, and it's really cool. So it's
Oh, wow.
one of the trip. There's a if you go on like Google, there's a trip like a trip thing that they've kind of coined called "Traveled Through Europe Without Even Leaving Texas."
Oh, wow, really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's fab.
because we've got like the the Cowboy Eiffel Tower in Paris, Texas, and then we've got like a Dublin, Texas, and then we've got like a I think it's like London, Texas. So like we have all these like
Wow.
European cities, and people plan like a week trip and visit like all these cities.
Oh my God, that's my next thing then. That's what I've got to be doing.
It's cool. It's really cool because they kind of like lean into it a little bit, and
Hmm.
there's like your what we call like tourist traps and stuff like that, and just kind of you
Yeah,
go. So yeah, it's cool.
that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So kind of looking forward. You said you've got some big shows, some festivals. What's that looking like? What are the dates? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, so I put all of my events on Facebook and my website under Abbie Gathard Music. But I have a festival which I'm really excited for, and it's on the 5th of July. And it's a guy contacted me, and I performed there about 2 years ago. And he was like, I've been looking for your details because we have a festival coming up and we'd really love you to perform. I was like, okay, that'd be great. And he was like, oh, the headliner is Scouting for Girls. And I was like, oh my gosh, because in the UK, I remember growing up listening to Scouting for Girls, and they had a #1 album in 2008. And I loved their songs. I used to listen to with it with my brother. And I remember thinking, this is amazing, not like supporting them in general, but having like this huge big thing for me, because it is big for me, supporting a big band. And just being able to say I love their music as well is like another thing. So that's in Flitwick, which is about like an hour and 20 from London, an
Mm.
hour 20 drive. And then I have so many amazing projects coming up on Sunday. In London, I've got a charity event, which is music and comedians performing. It's a 3-hour performance for £30, and it's supporting HCC and Brave, which are two amazing charities.
Mm.
And it's just something that I've never done before. I've never performed at Leicester Square Theatre. So I'm really excited for that, meeting different people as well, like meeting loads of comedians, meeting other musicians and connecting.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a unique concept. Is it like a comedian goes and a musician goes, or is it a little bit?
So they've got different, so they've actually got the guy that I contacted me,
Mhm.
he said, I'm thinking about this was last year. He was like, I'm thinking about putting on a show in London. Would you do it?
Mhm.
And I said, yeah, of course I would. And he said, I'm having about like 4 or 5 different musicians, and then I'm having like loads of comedy acts and all different people. And I thought, oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
didn't think much of it. He came back and was like, I've organised it. Leicester Square Theatre, 3 hours, £30. And he was like, how do you feel about doing a 15-minute set and everyone else is doing all their different sets? And I was like, that sounds great. And
Nice.
it's for 2 charities as well. So I was like, this is amazing that we're just being able to be entertained for like £10 an hour, literally,
Yeah.
just to connect with people and enjoy the night. So
Yeah. That sounds really cool. You said that's this or next week coming up.
it's tomorrow on
Oh,
the 9th of
tomorrow.
February, and people can buy their tickets on the website online as well. So Leicester Square Theatre, and it's a music and comedy night.
Nice. That's really cool. For some reason I thought you said Saturday, and I was like, wait, is that tonight or is that?
Oh no! Do you know what? I lose track of days, so I most probably said something wrong. But no, it's tomorrow,
Okay.
Sunday the 9th.
Fair. Okay. I don't know. In my head, I was like, Saturday. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever.
It's
It's all
weird
good.
having something on a Sunday. I feel like all the music things and all the big events are on Fridays and Saturdays, so it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
nice to have a Sunday that is actually on.
Oh yeah, we started doing this live podcast thing. It's kind of like a musician's showcase, and our next one is on a Sunday, which is really
Ah,
it. Like we've started to realize that we're gonna have to start doing them on Sundays, at least initially, because we're still doing like proof of concept to show them like, hey, this is what we're doing and it works. And so we're
mm,
kind of taking the days that they don't usually book musicians or they're not
yeah.
open at their normal hours or whatever. And so we have a show from like noon to 2 on Sunday, March 8th or March 2nd, not March 8th, March 2nd. And it's like, it's cool, it's exciting, but it's also like, oh, we've got to do like a noon show on a Sunday, plus it's a 2 hour drive. We got to be there two
Oh,
hours
yeah.
early. So it's like, I called my buddy. I was like, hey, I'm coming out Saturday because my co-host lives a little bit away, or not a little bit away from me. He lives a ways away from me. And so I was like, hey, we're going to have to get this organized Saturday. So we have to leave this house to get to the show on time at like 7:30 a.m. on a Sunday.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just to make sure we're there on time because once we get it set up, it takes like 40 minutes for everything to get set up, but
Mm,
it takes time to unload all that stuff.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And I feel that it's so weird for a Sunday because it's normally like the lazy day.
Yeah.
And it's like having to work your like whole week is like, hang on a minute, did I have a rest that weekend? I'm not sure.
Right. Right, right. And like I mean the cool thing is it's late enough on a Sunday that I feel like a lot of the people that are going to like church or whatever,
Yeah.
they're going to be looking for a place to go eat and hopefully this like we can pull them in and be like, "Hey, after church, come hang out." You know.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah, that's good.
but it's a whole thing. It's a whole marketing play. It's a whole branding
Yeah.
thing. You got to get yourself out there. And I I've grown a brand new respect for musicians booking their own shows because it's like a it's not easy.
No.
Period. And B like the insane hours just to go play for a couple of hours, like
Yeah.
all the prep work, and now it's like okay, cool, we're good. So
It is that thing. And especially like you'll get, if you travel as well, you'll get some pubs or restaurants or events that go, can you bring people? I'm like, I can't. I can bring some people in my car, but I mean, trying to get people to travel like an hour or 2 hours away just to
mm,
see me perform when I've got, it's really horrible to say, but when I've got a gig next week that's down the road from them,
yeah,
it's very hard to kind of like say, hi, do you want to come along to this 2 hour,
yeah,
to come and watch me for like 2 hours and then come back?
yeah.
And I think
So
it's that whole of
yeah.
like making sure that you're doing it in the areas that you've got people watching. But how can I do that when I've never performed this place before? So I'm trying to build a following there as well as
Mm.
everywhere else. Yeah.
Well, that's when you, because like in those situations, are they also booking other musicians to play along with you, or is it just you and then whatever you do with your 2 or 3 hour set is on you?
It's kind of just me because
Okay.
I'm a solo musician and
Hmm.
I think it's that whole thing of I can rely on myself and I know when I'm available and I just love performing that I can just be free and easy and kind of just go with it and go, oh yeah, I'm free this weekend. I'll go and bring my guitar along,
Yeah.
sing, and it's easier for me that way. I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't perform with other people
Hmm.
because I do tend to, at some gigs, I do sometimes have my dad perform next to me as well and play guitar, and it's really cool. But I've just always liked being a solo artist.
Hmm. Well,
So,
the reason I was asking because like in those situations where you're traveling 2 3 hours into a place
yeah,
that you're trying to build your following, I'd almost be curious if it had you just like, or if you were to just go like, okay, let me see who's local there that's maybe young and maybe has some family that'll come to every show. So like when you're doing
yeah,
your local show, like people come to see you because they support you, trying to find that young up and coming star or young up and coming performer in that area to be like, hey, do you want to come play like 20 minutes, 30 minutes at this
mm,
show? I'll give you the stage for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And
That's interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's different. It's like I do tend to find where I'm performing and put like a poster out like, hi everyone, I'm new to this area, or
yeah,
hi everyone, come along and see me. I'm performing local to you, kind of
mhm,
put it out there and you do get some people. But I feel like when you perform there once, you talk to the locals and you talk to people and then they go, oh, they remember you next time.
mhm,
And that's lovely. That's nice to know that they either want you back or say, "Oh, I
yeah,
remember you come along next time." That
yeah,
was really good.
yeah,
So it's hard, but yeah, I get what you mean. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. It was just a thought because like it,
Yeah.
I know when I was like booking, like when I was actively booking shows, I would do that to be like,
Ah,
okay,
okay.
we're bringing in somebody from out of town, and they have a little bit of a following here, but it's not like everybody's knocking down the doors to come in. So we would
Mm.
find somebody locally that we know, okay, Sean over here, yeah, he doesn't have the biggest following, but every time he comes, he's got 10 people with him because it's his buddies, his brothers, and all that stuff. So let's pair him with this musician and see if we can actually, bring some people in. So,
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I don't know many people that do that over here as well because I
mm,
noticed in Nashville they are amazing. Like they will just perform with different people and meet them on the day and go, "Hi, by the way, my name's so and so," and I'm like, "This is crazy. We don't
right,
do this over here. This is like amazing that you just met and you're able to just say, "Oh, okay, cool. Do you know this song? Cool."
yeah. Yeah.
It's just amazing. So yeah, maybe I could bring that in. That would be quite cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things like what you were talking about. I saw that kind of happen at a music festival I was at. There's a festival that I go to down here in Texas in
Mm.
October, and I was just hanging out, but like it was at a campground, and so they have like a little cantina snack bar deal, and I was hanging out over there on their patio, and there was like this musician that was just like strumming some chords to a song. I didn't really know what the song was, but then
Mm.
somebody else jumped in with their guitar and they started playing together, and all of a sudden, like 3 minutes in, they've kind of got this song together, and then they're performing it later that night because one of the guys
No
has a
way.
set. And I'm like, wait, what the hell just happened here? Like, I don't get it, And somebody explained it to me. It's like, no, that's just kind of what it is. Like, you sit there and you like when you're playing the same songs and you're a musician, it comes naturally. And then like you raise up or you come up in the an industry where that's the norm, where people will just kind of join in, and it
Wow.
sounds
Yeah.
unique, or it sounds perfect and rehearsed when it's not, but it's just like they're not playing anything crazy, they're playing like standards, you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
No, that's really cool. They do a lot of that busking in London
mhm,
and they have people join. And I always see the videos that they've like met this person, they've come to sing. And I'm like, wow,
yeah,
that is amazing. That is amazing. Because I don't do a lot of busking, but it's when I do see it, I'm thinking, that is so cool that you're able to just like join in with them and just casually just go along and do it. I do it
mhm,
with a couple of musician friends that I've got, but we never do it live. So
mhm,
it's like when we do it, it's kind of like a joke, a little fun thing to do, jamming. But no, that's really cool.
yeah, absolutely. So looking forward, the new you got your new album out now, links in the description. You got some shows coming up. If anybody wants to check out social medias, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
Everywhere. So I have a website, Abbie Gathard Music. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, everywhere really. Everywhere I need to be for music.
Nice.
So
Awesome, awesome. And
thank
then
you.
one thing that we like to do as we wrap up the podcast every episode, what's one piece of advice you have for the young musicians out there?
Stay true to what you want to write about, but work very hard for it. And you'll have a lot of setbacks, but then you've also got to think there's a lot of positives that come from it. So just keep going.
100%. Couldn't agree
Yeah.
more. So, but once again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute blast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you all later. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Live and Amplified's Indie Fusion podcast. If you'd like to support anything Live and Amplified does, please follow us on all of our social media platforms at Live, the letter N, Amplified. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, any of them, all of them, at Live, the letter N, Amplified. And if you would like to buy any official Live and Amplified merch, you can do so at our merch shop, link in the description below. Once again, thank you all. Have a great day.